Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm David Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's top stories. Orange County's popular biker bar reopened following a shooting from 2 weeks ago. The general manager thanked the public for their support. An individual found guilty in a fentanyl-related homicide case. This is a first for California. 3 controversial state bills survived their latest committee hearing. They will join hundreds of other bills lawmakers are now scrambling to review and pass. A motorist whose truck tumbled about 100 feet down a Southern California bluff was rescued after being trapped at the bottom of a ravine for nearly 5 days. According to the Kern County Fire Department, rescue crews responded Saturday after receiving a report of badly injured pickup at the base of a steep hill southeast of Bakersfield. A firefighter who was lowered down with a rope determined that the motorist was injured and had been trapped inside the truck since crashing last Tuesday near Stallion Springs. 3 more firefighters were then lowered into the ravine, and the individual who had not been identified was placed in a rescue basket and pulled to safety. The individual was then airlifted to a hospital in an unknown condition. The cause of the crash was under investigation Sunday. A popular biker bar in Orange County reopens after a shootout killed 3 and injured 6. The general manager says the public has been very supportive and another vigil has been scheduled.
Cook's Corner, a biker bar in Trabuco Canyon, reopened on Friday after a former cop killed 3 and injured 6 in a shootout about 2 weeks ago. In a video message on Saturday, the general manager thanked the public for their support on their reopening day.
We really thank you for all your support. Yesterday was amazing. It was great to see everybody come out and support us and the families.
The gunman was John Snowling, a former Ventura Police Department sergeant. He targeted his estranged wife, who was a regular at the restaurant. She was shot once but lived. He then randomly shot others around the area. A woman who was present during the shooting recalled that night with the Epic Times. She had parked right next to the shooter before heading inside for a drink. Many of the familiar faces were her friends.
Tanya, I saw her. She was celebrating her birthday. I saw Maureen. I saw the people I knew sitting there, and I walked to the back, and I was going to order the spaghetti, and that back door was open. We heard what we thought was fireworks, and then the band was still playing, and then it just went forward almost. It exploded, and I screamed, "That's gun smoke," and we started running.
Don Wagner, a supervisor in Orange County, told the Epic Times the bar was always a safe place to rest in.
The impression of the place had always been one of a warm family environment, a welcoming environment. It isn't the rough and tumble biker bar that people would describe it as.
There will be another vigil for the victims at the Library of the Canyons on September 6th at 7 p.m.
For the first time in California, a defendant was found guilty in a fentanyl-related homicide case. The Temecula man faces 15 years to life in prison with the second-degree murder charges. NTD's Jason Blair has more.
Kelsey King tragically died of a fentanyl overdose on June 16, 2020, after receiving half a pill laced with the deadly drug from Vincent David Romero. On Thursday, Romero was found guilty of second-degree murder by a Riverside County jury. This is the first verdict of its kind in California. Riverside District Attorney Mike Hestrin said in a statement, DDA Jeffrey Full not only demonstrated that the law can be upheld in a fentanyl-related murder case, but also established a precedent for future cases. Addiction recovery advocate Tom Wolf says he agrees with holding dealers accountable.
If they're selling drugs to someone and they know that that drug can kill them and they die as a result, that person dies as a result, I don't think it's unreasonable to charge that dealer with at least manslaughter, if not murder itself.
But will the guilty verdict be enough to deter fentanyl dealers around the state?
It's hard to say. I would like to think that it would. I mean, in larger urban centers like Los Angeles and San Francisco, where you have large swaths of organized drug dealers out there selling drugs, I think there needs to be some type of deterrent put in place to let them know that the risks of doing this are way, way higher than not. And the only way you can do that is with enforcement.
In the trial, the jury saw body cam footage of Romero admitting that the pill he split with King contained fentanyl. Romero also admitted to 5 other charges, including possession of drugs while armed, being a convicted felon and drug addict in possession of a firearm, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. Romero's sentencing is scheduled on October 6th. He could serve 15 years to life for second-degree murder and up to 6 years and 8 months for the additional charges. Jason Blair, NTD News, California.
Fentanyl seized. It was enough to kill the entire state's population over 68 times. Here's a look at the latest data from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection detailing how much of the deadly drug officers intercepted so far this year.
Statistics from U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials show that the state of California has seized enough fentanyl for fatal overdoses of 2.7 billion people, and that's just up to August 2023 alone. According to calculations using the agency's data, the amount, nearly 4,900 kilos, is enough to kill the entire state's population 68 times. As of this month, the amount of fentanyl seized by the federal agency shows a 38% increase from the 3,500 kilos confiscated in 2022, and that's an over 280% increase from 2020. Other drugs, such as methamphetamine and heroin, have shown a decrease in recent years. Border officials say that over 99% of fentanyl was seized at the U.S.-Mexican border. San Francisco's ports of entry was the second most seized location. According to the most recent data from the California Department of Health Overdose Surveillance Dashboard, nearly 6,000 deaths in California were from fentanyl overdoses. This accounts for nearly 88% of all opioid-related overdose deaths. And Governor Gavin Newsom has allocated $1 billion to address overdoses. This includes $172 million to distribute the overdose medication commonly known as Narcan to law enforcement agencies, schools, libraries, homeless services, and other public entities.
Hundreds of bills have faced the chopping block in the Assembly and Senate Appropriations Committees. Some of the bills include controversial measures related to drug use, child sex trafficking, and parents' rights.
Lawmakers scrambled to review bills that were stuck in the Assembly and Senate Appropriations Committee's suspense file. Critics call this a mysterious process, which took place on September 1st. Lawmakers are able to make decisions behind closed doors before announcing the bill's fate in rapid succession. There is no presentation, debate, or discussion during suspense file hearings. One bill that survived the suspense file is Senate Bill 14. Authored by Republican Senator Shannon Grove, SB 14 is designed to strengthen penalties for child sex traffickers. This bill was initially killed by the Assembly Public Safety Committee last July.
I just thank you for engaging, signing petitions. We are delivering these petitions to the governor's office because we are one step closer to getting this bill to his desk, and today it got out of appropriations.
Supporters of the bill responded with calls to representatives and posts on social media criticizing the decision. This led to an unprecedented special hearing where all but 2 members of the committee switched their votes to allow the bill to pass. Also on the suspense file was Assembly Bill 1078, authored by Democratic Assemblyman Corey Jackson. It limits school boards' authority in determining books used in school curriculums. Many parents from across the state have voiced their concerns about what they believe is unsuitable material contained in some textbooks. And while a number of measures on suspense seek to address the state's ongoing drug addiction crisis, one bill, Senate Bill 58, authored by Democratic Senator Scott Wiener, would decriminalize personal possession of certain hallucinogenic substances. This includes psilocybin mushrooms. Opponents suggest the measure would increase drug use and abuse in the state. These 3 bills and others that cleared their respective committees will continue the legislative process. September 14th is the last day for bills to pass this legislative session.
We'll take a short break now, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come right back. Housing in the Golden State hit a consecutive low. The single-family home prices continue an upwards climb. A realtor shares more on why this is happening. Social emotional learning? What is it and how does it affect your kids? NTD spoke with their parents' rights advocate who says there is more to the learning method than meets the eye. They say learning is a lifelong journey, so a Bay Area library offers high school courses for adults who are looking to get a diploma. Those stories and more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, David Zhang. California's housing affordability hits a consecutive low, while single-family home prices continue their upward climb from last year. A realtor tells NTD's Christina Corona more on the housing market.
California's housing affordability has hit a 16-year low as home prices reach sky-high values, turning the American dream into a challenging climb. Douglas Lee from Compass Real Estate says there are two main factors that have caused California's housing affordability to drop.
The first one is low interest rates, and the second one is low supply. So since 2000, since the implosion in 2002, the Fed has been cutting interest rates, and what that's done is with cheap money, it's spurred a lot of purchasing.
Lee tells us which areas and types of homes are affected most by the affordability issue.
Basically any area that's close to all the jobs. So if you're looking at areas that are driving distance to downtown LA, downtown San Diego, Orange County, San Francisco Bay Area, all the heavy job areas, those are the ones that are going to be a lot more heavily impacted by affordability. So basically getting into anything, a single family home, a condo, a townhome, just trying to get anything.
He tells us real estate's only going to go one direction in California, and that's up. With high or low interest rates, the most important thing Lee suggests is to just get in.
As long as you can commit to hitting those monthly payments, hell over high water, you're going to hold on to it long enough that when you sell, you'll make your money.
And the average price for a single family home in 2023?
The median price was around $863,000 and the average was $995,000, and that's for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot minimum size home. If you are a W-2 employee, you're making $100,000 salary, you have excellent FICOs over 730, and you have zero debt, you're probably going to get pre-approved for just under $600,000.
Lee shares with us some resources that can help residents when purchasing a home.
There's a CalHFA program called CalHFA, and what that is basically the government will contribute 20% for your down payment and you qualify for the rest. The second thing that's also really good that I'd highly recommend is to look at homes that have been on the market for over 30 days because you have no competition in there, it's sitting, and you can also ask the seller and negotiate closing cost credits.
Lee tells us how, for the first time in 2023, single-family home prices in California have surpassed those from a year ago.
Well, the biggest factor is what we call supply. So when we talk about supply, I've been tracking the data. It's 2 months of inventory. A normal market is six months. If you have below 6, it's a seller's market, in which case this is. At 2 months, what that means is that if no new listings hit the market, it would take us 2 months until we sold everything else out.
As home prices continue to climb compared to a year ago, California's housing affordability has taken a noticeable hit. However, there are resources and assistance programs available to help residents achieve their dream of homeownership. Christina Corona, NTD News, Los Angeles.
Critics of classroom changes cast the educational method known as social emotional learning as a Trojan horse. Could it be that's really teaching children concepts like gender identity, critical race theory, and sexual topics? NTD's Daniel Monahan spoke with the parents' rights advocate Marcia Metziger to find out.
Metzger first encountered the term social emotional learning as a sex education teacher for a crisis pregnancy center. With so many students coming through the doors, the parents' rights advocate approached nearby schools to set up an abstinence program. She says the schools told her they use social emotional learning to teach sex education. The organization CASEL defines social emotional learning, or SEL, as a curriculum dealing with 5 areas of competence: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. But Metzger says when she began to examine some of the programs, she found a lot of stuff focused on race and sex built into the material.
White children are labeled as non-BIPOC, BIPOC meaning Black, Indigenous, people of color, the oppressed and the oppressors. I found lessons on how to come out as gay. The one young man that taught the lessons on coming out, and he taught other sex education lessons, he looked like he was probably a non-binary person. He presented as male, but he had long eyelashes on, long fingernails, and acted very effeminate.
Metzger stated that the SEL material is in digital form, delivered to kids through laptops, with billions of dollars invested in the programs. One of the program makers is Savis Learning Company, formerly known as Pearson K-12 Learning. According to Metzger, Pearson is one of the main champions and supporters of the gender spectrum idea.
It's pretty much a plan on how the students themselves can keep the secret from their parents on if they wanted to change their gender at school.
The parental rights advocate remarked that the digital nature of the SEL curriculum is also troubling. Such programs, in her experience, are highly vulnerable to downloads and updates without anyone knowing it, which she says prevents parental oversight.
It circumvents laws. Like with sex education in Georgia, you're supposed to go through a very detailed process and even offer an opt-out to the parents if they don't want their child taught these lessons. Well, now a lot of these lessons are just integrated into their English language arts programs all the way through. And you never know when these lessons might change. And teachers say, well, we look at them first. But you still don't know once you hit play what this kid is going to be watching. It's unsecured. It's like the new frontier.
Metzger believes that the companies make money off the kids as well.
And the data that is derived from it is like liquid gold to these people. The data aspect is tremendous. And so it's highly valued because they can manipulate and determine outcomes from it. It can record a number of different ways, just strictly like on camera. They can even record what the child's response to reading is, like wow or whatever, But they also, every time that child hits enter in many of these programs, it can be uploaded into the cloud real time.
Marcia Metzger is the author of The Parent Navigator, a book she hopes will help parents understand what she calls the complex nature of the American school system. NTD reached out to Savis Learning Company, and we're waiting to hear back. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
Receiving a diploma, a challenging and a rewarding experience. Some adults that haven't earned their high school diploma have a chance to do just that. NTD's David Lamb tells me about a public library giving adults an inspiring second chance. Hi, David. Happy Labor Day. So what can you tell us about this public library offering adults free education?
Yeah, happy Labor Day to you as well, David. So about this public program, some individuals have circumstances where they couldn't complete high school or didn't have the chance to. Well, enter California State Library's Career Online High School. It has scholarship opportunities, and a San Jose branch said it's never too late to start your dreams. With this program, adult students can earn accredited high school diplomas and career certificates. The library will also support them from enrollment all the way to graduation.
This sounds wonderful, but are there any success stories?
Yeah, of course. In San Jose Public Library's program in Silicon Valley, 10 students recently graduated in August. They're the living embodiment of never giving up. So one graduate was a mother who fled Colombia with her 2 young sons to come to the U.S. And she told local channel ABC7 that she worked 2 jobs while studying, and it wasn't easy. But in the end, she said she had to continue for herself and to show her kids what education can do.
Wow. What are the requirements to enroll?
Well, applicants need to be 19 or older, live in San Jose, and of course have a library card in good standing. They also have to be willing to spend at least 8 to 10 hours a week on coursework. They also need to have completed the 8th grade and be comfortable reading, writing, and speaking in English, as well as using technology, because this is an independent online program, which can be completed anywhere from 5 to 18 months, depending on whether you're transferring previous course credit.
So how do people get started if they're interested?
Yeah, David, so people can visit ca.careeronlinehs.org to take an initial survey, and if all goes well, there will be a 2-week prerequisite course and potential scholarship. And David, since its launch in 2016, San Jose said there have been 165 adult learners who earned their diplomas and career certificates. David?
All right, thank you so much for the information. Now let's check in with NTD's Carlos Reyes for our sports roundup.
We have some exciting scores to go over today. This is your California Sports Roundup, and I'm Carlos Reyes.
The San Jose Earthquakes and Minnesota United played to a thrilling 1-1 draw on Saturday night at PayPal Park. Forward Cade Cowell netted his first goal of the season to tie the match after Minnesota scored the opening goal. San Jose Earthquakes midfielder Jackson Ewell had this to share about his team's performance.
We came out, with the right urgency. I think that kind of built up throughout the game. I think our message at halftime was to be a little bit more aggressive, get more runs in behind, get more balls in behinds. I think, with Cade and Christian and Jeremy's speed, we wanted to open up the field a little bit more. And then I think we did a good job of recovering more balls in their half and in the midfield and transitioning quick.
The Quakes conceded an early goal but rallied with a 17th minute equalizer from Cowell. Jackson Ewell collected the ball at the top of the box after a corner kick to find Cowell on the left, who shot deflected into the bottom corner of the net. The goal was his first of the season and 10th of his MLS career. Cowell is now the 11th teenager in MLS history to reach 10 regular season goals. Both sides traded blows in the second half, but neither team could find the winning goal. The Earthquakes nearly converted a diving header from Jamiro Monteiro in the 56th minute, and Minnesota had a goal called back after video review for a handball 4 minutes later. The Earthquakes will now prepare to travel to face DC United on Saturday, September 9th. Kickoff from Audi Field is slated for 4:30 p.m.
That is it for today's sports. Thank you for watching. I'm Carlos Reyes.
Thanks, Carlos. And that's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with the friends and family. Send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Ganjin World, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Zhang. Happy Labor Day.